So, as we think about some of the challenges that are unique potentially to the African continent, let's say the sub Saharan African continent, what are some of the unique challenges of climate change that those nations are facing, maybe different, separate, or unique from what other nations around the world are dealing with?
Yeah, so those different challenges. So, for example, when we talk about Africa, they only produce 2% of global emissions, but they are disproportionately affected. And that effect can be seen in multiple ways. So, for example, natural resource extraction, it happens heavily in Africa because those minerals are mostly found on the continent of Africa. So if we talk about the Democratic Republic of Congo as in particular, what we see is that natural resource extraction and the expansion of mines, millions of trees have been cut down, which only means that there's more risks of floods, and agriculture is disrupted, which means increase of biodiversity loss, as well as that because of the nature in which resources are extracted, minerals and toxic waste is poured into the water, which means that in certain regions in the DRC, there's no fishes, but also scientists have found in particular regions where fishes are found, these fishes have traces of mercury and cyanide, which is then digested by the local people. Another unfortunate thing is that because of the expansion of these mines, what we're seeing is mass displacement. In the DRC in particular, 6.9 million people are displaced. And the thing with displacement is rapid urbanization, which means that a lot of people are coming to one area and in order to survive, they're manipulating the land to be able to eat, which means they're using, for example, coal and burning wood and things like that. But also there's poor electricity, poor sanitation, poor water resources. And that stress onto the land and stress onto the people means that there's even more climate change happening in the new areas where people are migrating to. In the sense of Nigeria, where natural resource extraction is happening specifically in the Niger Delta, the impact of climate change on the people in certain regions is that 42 becomes the eldest age for some people. And similarly to the DRC, what we find is those toxic minerals are found in the water, which means people can't drink from the water, people can't fish. So climate change means that fishermen are out of jobs. And as well as that, respiratory illnesses. When I spoke to people for the Niger Delta for a journalism piece I did, he was telling me that you can basically call people in the area smokers, and not because they're actually smoking, but because they're inhaling toxic air pollution every single day. And this inability to really self-actualize because of climate change means more poverty, it means more psychological impact. And as recent reports from both like the World Weather Attribution is saying, is that there's these severe droughts in areas of sub-Saharan Africa will become 100 times more likely. Even the shift to renewable energy will mean a different type of mining, which will have its own climate change implications. So there's a lot of unique experiences on the continent that not only affect the people themselves, but also the human rights of the people on the ground and also the climate.